You have the money. You walk into a Rolex store. You already know exactly which watch you want. The salesperson smiles. You ask for a stainless steel Daytona. Then something unexpected happens. They won't sell it to you. Not because you can't afford it. Not because the watch is discontinued. They simply tell you to wait. Maybe for a few months. Maybe for a few years. Maybe forever. That sounds completely irrational. Imagine walking into a Ferrari dealership. You have the cash. You're ready to buy. The salesperson looks at you and says, "No, come back in a few years." Most companies would lose a customer. Rolex creates an even stronger one. People leave disappointed. Then they tell everyone about it. They post online. They join waiting list forums. They watch YouTube videos. They talk to friends. And somehow, the watch becomes even more desirable. That isn't bad customer service. It's one of the smartest business strategies in the luxury industry. Because Rolex isn't really selling watches. It's selling exclusivity. At first glance, the strategy makes no sense. Rolex could sell every Daytona that enters a showroom, probably within a single day. So why not simply produce more? Why leave billions of dollars on the table? The answer has very little to do with manufacturing, and almost everything to do with human psychology. Every year, Rolex produces more than 1 million watches. That sounds like an enormous number. But demand is even higher, especially for the models everyone wants. The Daytona, the GM Master 2, the Submariner. Walk into almost any authorized dealer and ask for one. You'll probably hear the same answer. There isn't one available. You can add your name to the waiting list. That's where the real strategy begins. Because waiting changes the way people think. Imagine seeing two identical watches. One is available today. The other requires a 2-year wait. Most people immediately assume the second one must be more valuable, even if nothing about the watch itself has changed. Psychologists call this the scarcity effect. When something becomes harder to obtain, our brain automatically assigns it greater value. Rolex understands this better than almost any company on earth. Scarcity isn't a side effect. It's part of the product. The waiting list becomes part of the ownership experience. Buying a Rolex isn't just a transaction, it's a story. People remember where they were when they finally got the call. They celebrate it. They share photos. They post videos. They tell everyone how long they had to wait. Without realizing it, they're doing Rolex's marketing for free. No expensive advertising campaign can compete with that. Because people trust other people, especially when those people waited years for something. But Rolex isn't only selling rarity, it's selling something even more powerful: status. And that's where the strategy becomes truly brilliant. Status is one of the oldest forces in human behavior. People have always looked for ways to signal success: a bigger house, a faster car, exclusive clothing, luxury watches. Rolex understood this long before most companies did. The watch doesn't just tell time. It tells a story about the watch, about the person wearing it. That's what makes luxury different. People aren't only buying a product. They're buying what the product represents. And Rolex has spent decades building that meaning. Like the people most often associated with the brand: athletes, celebrities, business leaders, world champions, successful entrepreneurs. Rolex rarely needs to tell people it's prestigious. The people wearing it do that for them. This creates something psychologists call social proof. When we see successful people choosing a product, we assume there must be a reason. The product becomes more desirable. Well, because it changed. Because our perception changed. Rolex has mastered this effect. But there is another reason the strategy works so well. Luxury brands eventually make the same mistake. They chase growth. They produce more. They lower standards. They become easier to buy. And slowly, the exclusivity disappears. Rolex has spent decades avoiding that trap. The company moves carefully. It protects its image. It protects its dealers. And most importantly, it protects demand. That may sound strange. Most businesses focus on increasing sales. Rolex focuses on increasing desire, because desire creates long-term value, and that value doesn't stop at the showroom. It continues into the second-hand market. This is where things become even more interesting. Many Rolex models sell for extremely high prices after purchase. Some even sell above retail value. Suddenly, buyers are no longer thinking like customers. They're thinking like investors. The watch feels different. It no longer feels like a luxury expense. It feels like something valuable. Something worth keeping. Something worth chasing. Whether every Rolex is a good investment isn't the point. The important thing is that many people believe it, and belief drives behavior. More buyers enter the market. Demand grows. Waiting lists get longer, exclusivity increases, and the cycle continues. The genius of the Rolex strategy is that every part supports every other part. Scarcity creates desire. Desire creates status. Status creates demand. Demand creates waiting lists. Waiting lists create even more scarcity. It's a self-reinforcing system, and it's incredibly difficult for competitors to copy, because building a factory is easy. Building prestige takes decades. Rolex didn't create this reputation overnight. It was built slowly, year after year, generation after generation. That patience is what separates great luxury brands from everyone else. In a world where most companies want immediate growth, Rolex plays a different game, a longer game, a smarter game. The company could probably sell more watches tomorrow, but it might lose something far more valuable. It's exclusivity, and once exclusivity is gone, it's almost impossible to get back. That's why the waiting list exists. That's why people leave stores empty-handed. And that's why demand never seems to disappear. Because in luxury, being available is not always an advantage. Sometimes the most powerful thing a company can say is no.